So if it's a simple product like a bottle of wine or a single product item that doesn't have a lot of options to it, then using like a shopping cart plugin, either the WordPress multi-user.dev, the premium plugins that they have that great shopping cart there, or a WooCommerce plugin. Using something like that it's really good for simple products, because what it comes down to is the options that you'd have. So if I have a shirt, I'm selling a shirt, and I can get it in small, medium, large, and then I can get this in red, white, blue, yellow, the different colors. That piece of product has a lot of different options. If you look at like a pair of pants, that's the same thing, but now you have length sizes as well, so the inseam is going to be this tall. So that has a lot of options. Whereas something like a bottle, or here's a dresser, and you can get these pieces, or something that has very minimal options in just, let's say, colors. You can get this pen in red, you can get it in blue, you can get it in black, you can get it in green. So those are very simple options. So that's one of the things that we want to look at. Another thing is the shipping. Where are you going to be shipping the product out of? Is it going to be shipped out of a single point of origin? So it's just being shipped out of your home, it's just being shipped out of a distribution center, or is it going to be shipped out of multiple centers? If you're shipping it out of multiple centers, or you have very complicated products, then you need a more robust shopping cart. Something else to look at is, where is it being shipped? Is it just going to be within one country, one province? Is it going to be just in the United States? Is it going to be overseas? Is it going to be in a particular state? So shipping is where we start thinking of the cost of shipping to those places. Another thing to consider is the taxes of those places. So if you're just sending it through Canada, and you just want to send it to, let's say, Ontario, then you just have to deal with one set of taxes. Whereas if you're shipping into the States, then you need to think about all the different tax centers that might be in there. The States also recently passed a law that if you're doing more than $1 million towards a business, then you now need to submit taxes to each and every individual state. So that can get quite cumbersome. Whereas a simple shopping cart that you might have in a WordPress plugin, like the WooCommerce themes that I mentioned, that wouldn't be able to handle a complex tax structure, and it wouldn't be able to handle the complex tax system, wouldn't be able to handle the complex shipping system, and it wouldn't be able to handle the complex product system either. When you start thinking about the complex side of things, that's when you have to start looking at something like a Magento. Magento is an online shopping cart you can have. It's owned and operated by eBay and PayPal. So they have all the tools and all the integration that you would require. Something else that would be a little bit more robust would be maybe like an Amazon. Amazon.ca, Amazon.com. Needing to remember that those are completely separate companies. That Amazon.ca is for Canada, Amazon.com is for the United States. Then you're going to find a lot of other online shopping carts. And these are going to be things like 3D Cart, or, oh, wow, there's so many of them. It's kind of not even coming to my head anymore. But there's a lot of different online shopping carts that you can come off to. And so what they do, they entice you with a really cheap rate to get the shopping cart up. But as soon as you start going in, then they're going to start putting on their add-ons. So you need an add-on for an SSL certificate, which is the security of doing online transactions or passing secure information over the web. They're going to tax you on things like, well, a different payment system. So are you tied up with these different payment systems? Do you then need to sign up with online processing companies? So your bank, you can't just go to your bank and say, I want to collect credit card information. Yes, you can do it inside your office, but as soon as you want to do that online, you then need to sign up with a service like in Canada, Bean Street, or the United States, Authorize.net. And those systems need to be able to integrate and connect with the shopping cart that you might get online. So there's a lot of different payment systems. So there is your website that's going to be collecting the credit card information. Then there's the bank that the money has to go into. What you need is an in-between person. And that middle ground, it's the person that, from your website, it goes to this middle person that processes the transactions and then deposits it into your bank. So these middle people is a requirement that a lot of people don't know about online shopping that you need to have a relationship with. So most of the time, if you sign up with your bank, say TD Bank, they are signed up with Beanstream as their processing center. Whereas if your bank is in the States, it's going to be authorized.net, which is a very popular one. But then these types of companies, they're going to take a portion of your sale, and they also are going to be doing they also need to be able to integrate with these online shopping carts that some of them don't. So if you're connecting with an online shopping cart that's predominantly in the States, they might not connect with a Beanstream. They just don't do it. Whereas if you're with like a company like Moneris, they don't use a third-party company. They have developed their own middle ground person. And that middle ground person, it's their own product, so then your fees are less because you're not paying the bank the monthly fee for accepting credit cards, and you're not paying these middle ground people for these monthly credit cards. Moneris bundles it into their online processing costs of their monthly fee. So you don't necessarily have to lose a percentage of sales for doing online sales. So these are some of the things that you need to look at to make sure that they're going to integrate with your existing bank, to make sure that they're going to integrate with this online product that you're going to be using. So that's why something like a PayPal really becomes attractive, because PayPal, pretty much every single online processing system accepts it, whether you're using a plugin into your WordPress site, whether you're using a third-party or online shopping cart like 3D Card or Magento. So PayPal is a really good option. A third option in terms of a shopping cart is your own self-hosted shopping cart. So that would be something like a Magento with an offline version that you get of Magento that you self-host on your own hosting company. And that allows upgrades. You can upgrade the products so you're staying compliant with the latest PCI and the latest rules and regulations that go along with accepting credit cards and having storage of client information. But there's also things like ZenCart, which is another type of self-managed product. So ZenCart, OS Commerce, there's a few other self-managed products that you can have that you can host on your own website. The only problem with a lot of these products is that when you then, here's my theme, here's my style, this is how the website is going to look, and then you integrate it with something like a ZenCart or an OS Commerce, well, anytime there's an upgrade to that product, you then need to rebuild your entire site and integrate it with your theme again. So it's something that if you want to stay compliant with the latest and greatest security compliances and software and whatever else, then you don't necessarily want to use a self-hosted product like this. So the reason why you want to be careful about your shopping cart is that PCI compliance. So this is an industry standard that says this, in order for you to collect people's credit card information, in order to collect their personal information and then send information to them, you need to be compliant with how you do this. So you can't necessarily store credit card information on your website or in your database, because in case that ever gets hacked, then you need to protect client credit card information. So you're not going to be setting yourself with a lawsuit. So using something like an Amazon.ca or one of these other companies, like the Moneris processing system, none of that credit card information is really stored on your website. It's stored elsewhere. Or you want to make sure that you never store information on your website. Client information, yes, you can do that, but you don't want to be storing credit card information. Otherwise, you got to think if you ever get hacked, then that information is then exposed to the world. If you are going to be storing that information, there are ways that a website developer can encrypt the information, so it's all X's and Y's and zeros and ones, so that people, even if they take it, they can't do anything with it. It's all jumbled information. It doesn't mean anything. And that's what a lot of these credit card companies have done, that they encrypt all this information and they store it on their servers, and that's how you stay PCI compliant. Jumping back a bit in terms of collecting credit card information, if you are going to be not going to use like a simple company like PayPal, you want to work with a credit card processing system that accepts visas directly onto your website, a credit American Express, credit MasterCard. If you're going to be signing up with one of these companies, or your bank or not, there's going to be a certain requirement that they're going to have. So they're going to want things to have extra pages on your website that say, this is our privacy policy. This is how we're going to store your user information. This is how we collect your information. This is how many days we're going to be shipping your product in. This is how long it's going to take. If you have a problem, here's the number that you can contact. If you're going to be selling things like sizes and whatnot, here's our sizing chart. If you want to accept returns, this is how you're going to get a return. This is what's going to happen with your money. This is how we're going to be protecting yourself. So they want to know all these things. They want to know all those things that just rattled off in order. Once you have those pages up on your website and they see that live, that's when they will say, okay, we will now grant you the ability to sell credit, to accept credit cards online. Well, something like a PayPal doesn't require this. Something like an Amazon.ca is included with all their stuff already. So you don't necessarily need to have those policies on your website. But it is a good idea to have that information onto your website because as a customer, when they come to your website and they want to be giving you money, they want to make sure that they feel safe with you, that they know that it's going to take this long to have a product shipped to them, that you only ship to within Canada or you only ship within Ontario, that if they want to return the product, that they have somebody that they can contact you, or there's a certain process that goes along with it. So that is a psychology in place that, yes, the credit card companies want it. You don't necessarily have to put that up there, but it's a good idea to have because there's a psychology in purchasing from you and a certain trust that goes along with it. That goes back to one of the very first things I said in an SSL certificate, and that secures the encryption when they're sending out personal information, they're sending out credit card information, they're sending out a username or password, that makes sure that the communication is secure on both ends, so it's not visually seen. So if you imagine that you're passing a postcard to someone and you say, pass this down at the end of the table, each and every person can read that postcard. If it was an SSL certificate, it would be as if that postcard was in an envelope. So you can pass that envelope down the road, but no one can actually see what the content is on there. So having an SSL certificate is important to show that. There are two different levels of SSL that you can get. One is a base certificate that just encrypts the information. A second requires you to submit your company information, submit personal information. They do an investigative background check on you and to make sure that you're a legitimate company. And then when you come to the website, you'll have a big green symbol or area in the address bar, and that's kind of a symbol to show that you are safe and that you are SSL. It's a secure connection. If you click on it, it says, this company is verified, they are such and such company, they're located at this address, and here's their number, and here's their contact information. So that peace of mind gives your end users that additional trust in order to purchase or buy from you. Yeah, it's just a higher security certificate. What it gives you is typically if you get hacked into or if one of the transactions are compromised, there's an insurance policy that goes along with it. So a basic certificate might cover you up to $250,000, whereas the advanced certificate that has that additional security, because they verified who you are, they will secure that transaction up to, let's say, $2 million. It really depends on the company. Like, you can get GoDaddy certificates, you can get a lot of different certificates. The real trick is then having that certificate installed into the hosting company, and that's where we're working with, a company like ours, that we do all that does the hosting, that does the certificates, and we do all that for you. That we'll work with the hosting to make sure that's integrated into your website. On the geeky side, you essentially give them all the necessary information, and then we work with the host company where they'll create an encrypted script, and that encrypted script then works with the browser. It gets stored at a main domain center around the world, and then your name gets kind of bundled with this main domain company in the world that verifies, yes, you are this company, and you have a valid SSL certificate. Otherwise, when people try to come to your website and you're not SSL, they'll get this warning that says, oh, this is a secure transaction. Are you sure you want to be passing your username and password and credit card information over this? Because they are not secure. It's essentially you're writing down your credit card or your password on that postcard and passing it down the table without putting it in the envelope first.